Remain in the second round of racing at the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals. This is Dick LaHaye coming into this race. He had about an 1,100 point difference between he and the leader, Ormsby. Let's go to Steve with the points leader.
Well, there's jubilation down here with Darrell Gwynn and his family and the honking horns, but there'll be a rather silent crew, I'm afraid, for Gary Ormsby. Gary?
Yeah, we really thought we'd do, I don't know what we ran, but I knew he ran awful good because he came around me pretty good down here.
Were you a little tentative maybe in that lane?
Maybe a little bit. We probably could have stepped it up a little bit, but we wanted to be on the safe side, and it just didn't work out this time.
Well, I'll tell you what, the 19th race coming up is going to be as exciting as the first one, which you won.
Yeah, hopefully we can repeat and win this championship.
That final race coming up in just 2 weeks at Pomona, California. Ormsby, of course, referring to his big win to start the season at the Winter Nationals. That's Ursi Hill out in front of Eddie. You see the actions that Eddie takes to back his Super Shop Special up into its own tracks, trying to find the most traction available in that lane.
What a contrast between these two teams. There's the steadiness, the consistency of Dick LaHaye in the near lane. And there's a really kind of erratic performance of Eddie Hill this year. Upside down, over backwards at Pomona, then 4 second runs later on in the year. You just don't know what to expect. I really thought, David, that Dick LaHaye had a very good shot at this title. Of course, he still has a mathematical chance. But when he had the tire problem at Dallas a week ago, it cost him some of that mo, as they call it, momentum. And for Eddie Hill, he hasn't found mo all year long. Not a win to his credit. Dick LaHaye has been in the winner's circle 3 different times.
Hill throwing the switches and grabbing the brake handle. He qualified 8th. The Miller High Life Special of LaHaye, the number 4 qualifier at a 5:08. Ursi looking on intently. You're riding with Eddie Hill. This car 258 inches long. He is staged. And Dick LaHaye pulls ahead and passes him at the finish line. LaHaye, the winner, 5:11 his elapsed time. That ride you took with Eddie Hill covered a quarter of a mile in 5.27 seconds at 258 miles an hour.
Eddie Hill was so intent here, he not only released the brake, he then pushed it forward to make sure that there was no drag at all, because he knew he needed everything he had, and as it turned out, it just wasn't enough.
Look at the smoke coming off the tires on Dick LaHaye's car. This in replay, you can see how loose he was in the middle of the course, but he recovered in time to win. That sets up the semifinal pairing where Dick LaHaye has got a challenge. He's got to race Darrell Gwynn, who's got the lane choice with that great 499. What a battle this will be. Joe Amato against Shirley Muldowney. Amato having the lane choice. Steve?
Well, David, I'm sure that Dick LaHaye was sitting in his race car watching the early parts of this second round with all of the fascination that we were. Just incredible top fuel racing, and you're a big part of it.
I certainly am. Boy, that 499 of Darrell's was plenty stout. And this run here that we just made, this thing really got loose out there and it was all over the track. And I'm not even sure what it ran, to be truthful with you, Stephen.
It ran a 5:11, but that's a ways away from Gwynn's number.
Oh, it certainly is. We'll just have to see what happens.
You're going to have that same lane. You can bet on that.
Yeah, I'm sure am. Thank you.
Okay.
Dick LaHaye heads back to the pit to get ready for the semifinals. We've got Pro Stock Racing coming up next at Firebird Raceway in Phoenix.
You know, David, here in the Firebird pits, there are huge crowds around Shirley Muldowney's car, huge crowds around Darrell Gwynn and Bob Glidden, and a huge crowd around the pink Cadillac. This car has absolutely nothing to do with our competition today, but I couldn't resist it. Could you? A 1959 Cadillac funny car, complete with wing, parachutes, wheelie bars. It weighs about 2,600 pounds. The aft section of the car, except for the trunk lid, is all steel, original Cadillac bodywork. The interior, as you can see, is as nice as any funny car. All the hand-formed aluminum, complete roll cage, all the safety equipment. And resting under the flip-top front end is about a 1,800 horsepower, 500 cubic inch supercharged alcohol-burning Rodak engine. John DePorter built this car here in the Phoenix area. It was just completed Tuesday night. Now, you won't find the pink Cadillac contesting Bruce Larson for next year's funny car title, but you probably will find it exhibition racing at your local NHRA drag strip. I'd buy a ticket to watch this baby smoke the tires.
I'll second that, Steve, and I'll tell you one thing, it gives a whole new meaning to the word pink. Here is round number 2 of Pro Stock Eliminator. This is the Castrol GTX Oldsmobile of Larry Morgan. His competition over in the far lane, a Chevrolet Beretta driven by Gary Herman. And this is one of Herman's most outstanding efforts thus far.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you can get this far in NHRA Pro Stock competition, as close as it is, often just a few hundredths of a second will separate number 1 from number 16 in the qualifying.
Number 7 qualifier was Herman, while Morgan qualified 3rd. The difference between those two cars in qualifying, a 742 for Morgan, a 746 for Herman.
Nobody has to tell Gary Herman the challenge he's accepted here. He is racing the U.S. Nationals champion, Larry Morgan, and he leaves too soon.
Gary Herman had to take a chance. He tried against the Christmas tree to gain an advantage, but if you try too hard, sometimes you end up with the red light. Larry Morgan ended up with an elapsed time of 7.48 seconds at 185 miles an hour. Here's the Chevrolet of Bruce Allen, the Levi Garrett car. This is one of the stable of race cars out of the Rare and Morrison team, racing against the winner in Dallas, Warren Johnson at the wheel of the AC Delco Oldsmobile. It was on that Texas Motorplex quarter mile that Bruce Allen had some problems. Earlier, Steve got the story.
Normally, when I visit the Rare and Morrison Pro Stock trailer, I get a great view of the spare car they always carry for their driver, Bruce Allen. Well, there's not much to see here today because the spare car has been pressed into duty. And no wonder after what happened 1 week ago, the Chief Nationals Texas Motorplex. It was round number 1. Bruce Allen in the far lane. Gary Brown in the near lane. Allen, the clear-cut winner by a car length. Suddenly, some parachute lines snapped, forcing the car to the left. A 45-degree impact with the unforgiving concrete wall, and one total Pro Stock automobile. Amazingly enough, no injuries to Bruce Allen. He's hale and hearty here in Phoenix. Still a few aches and pains, though.
Yeah, a little rough around the edges, but nothing serious, fortunately.
Tell us about the backup car. How good is it?
It's a good car. It's won 4 races for us this year. It's qualified number 1 3 times. It's a good car.
What's the essential difference between the two?
Oh, the other car was new, and it had a GTU ground effects package on it. Had the front spoiler pulled out, and it was just a little bit more refined version of this car.
We're talking a few hundredths, maybe better?
Yeah, at the most.
Here at Phoenix, the backup car qualified number 6 with a 745, while Johnson qualified 2nd at 7.40.
It used to be you could race Warren Johnson and just as a matter of fact say, well, I'll drill him on the lights. I'll leave first. You can't say that anymore. He's turned into a driving machine.
Certainly has, and that was evidenced by the virtue of his driving job winning the race a week ago at the Motorplex. Oldsmobile against Chevrolet and Warren Johnson. 7.45 seconds his elapsed time. Bruce Allen even went quicker at a 7:44. As we look again in instant replay, you'll get an opportunity to see just what Steve was talking about. The driving machine in the far lane is Warren Johnson. He picked up 0.04 of a second advantage at the starting line over a great driver, Bruce Allen. At the halfway point, it was Johnson with the lead. He continued to hold it. He had built up enough advantage at the starting line to offset the quicker time by Allen.
Meanwhile, in Joe Amato's pit, a new wing is going on that car, a larger wing for more downforce, and a new rear end. They're taking no chances. The one from round number 2 was clunking a bit up the return road. We'll be back.